coordinating with local, state, and federal partners at all levels. The governor, in particular, has been helpful in providing additional pumps and high water vehicles to our city, and the National Guard resources arrive today. I also want to give a shout out to the folks upstairs and out there on the streets helping to keep our city safe. They are dedicated and trained professionals, and it shows. I also need to say thank you to the hospitality and food and beverage industry for leaning in and providing rooms and provisions for these brave men and women working around the clock. It frankly is pretty inspiring to see the community coming together in times like this. As for the coming days, starting early tomorrow, it looks like rain will start to lessen somewhat, but we are then looking at potential higher gusts of winds coming our way. This, coupled with how saturated the ground has become, creates conditions where we are likely to see more trees coming down and potential power outages. To that end, we plan on assessing conditions at 7 a.m. tomorrow and making a decision soon thereafter as to what to do with the curfew. But until then, it will remain in effect. Again, I know this may be frustrating, but I feel that this is the right decision given the current conditions. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Walker with the Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. First, thank you to all those who have adhered to the warnings and the curfew. We have noticed the vast majority of you have complied, and I'm extremely grateful for your cooperation. However, for those who are out, I want to reiterate a crucial point. Please do not drive around our barricades. These barricades are here for your safety. Ignoring them not only creates a preventable and unnecessary emergency, but will subject you to enforcement. As curfew continues, please understand that our officers will maintain road closures throughout the city. They are there to assist you, and please do not place them in any further danger unnecessarily. If you are traveling to work or experiencing a medical emergency, you may be allowed access based on the flooding situation. However, if you do not have to be out, please stay in. During this state of emergency, our public safety resources must prioritize critical emergencies. Do not create an emergency by driving around barricades or being on roadways unless it's absolutely necessary. So thank you once again for your cooperation. And I'll turn it over to Chief Curry.
Good morning. I think I state the obvious when I say that Charleston is incredibly fortunate to have such well-trained and dedicated employees, particularly those employees in the fire department and the police department who are out keeping everybody safe during this event. We are prepared for rescues. However, we do not want to perform rescues. The way that you can help make that happen is to stay inside for the duration of this event. You can stay off the roadways, and you can adhere to the city's curfew. If there is an emergency, please rest assured that we are prepared to handle it. The fire department is upstaffed, the police department is upstaffed, but the curfew has worked overnight as the fire department's calls have dropped dramatically. That's incredibly important because it enables the fire department to get on to different calls to restore quality of life, and most importantly, it does not overload our resources. So we're available for things like structure fires that may come in. So please adhere to the curfew, stay safe, but know that we're here for you. Now I'll turn it back over to the mayor for questions.
All right, any questions?
So the curfew will extend from this point all day until potentially 10 a.m. tomorrow. The curfew has not been lifted for today.
It's not been lifted. We're going to keep it in place. It'll go through tonight into tomorrow. We will make a decision as early as 7 a.m., perhaps a little bit later, but we're going to reassess after our 7 a.m. briefing.
Have you guys issued any citations since last night in regards to people going over barricades or anything like that?
We have.
We don't have those numbers.
We don't have the numbers, but we have. But again, most people, by and large, are adhering to the curfew. To the chief's point, really do appreciate them taking it seriously. But look, I mean, if you're doing stupid things, yeah, you're going to get a ticket. Anything else?
It seems like the impact of the flooding, at least, isn't perhaps as severe as it has been in past storms. Do you believe that the pumps and emptying out some of the flooded areas, like the mitigation plan and pipe extensions, all of that, do you feel like that's helped with this, or?
Absolutely. I don't want you to jinx it, though. But yes, I think both the steps that we've taken in the immediate term with deploying pumps, cleaning out the drains in advance of this storm have been helpful. But candidly, I think we got to give hats off to previous administrations, previous councils for work that started 20 years ago with underground tunnels underneath the crosstown that have come into effect and are playing a pretty crucial role in keeping our city dry. Couple that with, we've been fortunate to have no overly heavy bands coming through where we're getting a large volume within like an hour or two. So that, along with being lucky with the tides, I think have kept the city relatively dry, but you're still seeing pretty substantial flooding throughout. And again, not just on the peninsula. We're seeing it all across the city of Charleston. So this is not just a peninsula issue. I want to be clear about that.
And I have a follow-up question for Chief Correa. You mentioned your call volume has gone down. Is that based on calls like yesterday or just in past storms?
That's based on calls. We know in a given day that we will typically go on 75 to 100 calls in the fire department. When we have storms of this magnitude, the call volume will at least double, if not more. And yesterday, up until this morning at 8 o'clock, we went on 101 calls.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, ma'am?
You said you have, the city has its own set of pumps and that the state brought in more. Do you know how many the city has, how many were brought in?
I believe we have 9, and the state was bringing in 4 more. And just to be fair, we don't own the pumps. We've been renting them, and so we are going to be looking with City Council about purchasing pumps. This is something that I think the city ultimately should own.
So those have proved effective so far?
They have. Again, we've been fortunate too, that coupled with the tide cycle and just how the rain has come down. It's not like they've been able to keep up with the volume.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Was I ready?
You go.
Oh, thank you, man.
Wait a minute.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. I really appreciate you coming in. I understand it was a little difficult to get in here, so
Yeah, well,
I
I was a little
appreciate the
afraid
effort.
to ask, but the police were great once I told them what I was doing. All good.
Perfect. Well, just don't be afraid to ask because you're pretty important to be here, right? All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
But I'm gonna just talk about the curfew and then ask you what the feedback is.
Hey. Sure. Have we heard anything from the restaurant or today? I mean,
About what?
is anybody complaining about the curfew? I guess it's still
One
not-
place. But, no, everybody else, I mean, I've talked to others. Client.
All right, well, you can.
Now, if you'll come up a little bit.
We're ready to go when you guys are.
It's not letting us.
It's not letting her in. Need to, I'll queue her. Just let me know. You can't keep her around forever. We're ready to go when you are. I'll just queue her. All right?
Now, if you'll come to.
We're gonna just queue you, that way you don't have to stay around for a while. can't wait.
And then I'm gonna also ask, what's your first storm?
Stand by, Hannah.